Welcome everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone. I'll call the council meeting to order. Just remind everyone, try to please silence any electronic devices. If you wish to speak, there will be an opportunity for you to do so. You'll need to come up to the table here in the middle of the room and use the microphone when you wish to. Please don't yell out from the gallery, so to speak. Let's start off with approval of the agenda, and council, you're gonna hate me and Janet's gonna hate me more, but I'm gonna propose some changes to the agenda here. I would like to move items 13 and 14, which are the water plan and the water ordinance, up and adjacent to number 8, excuse me, 9. So that we can just let Darren Neufeld do all of his things and not keep him hostage here. I would also like to propose that we move 7 and 8, which are city administrator report and council member comments, down to the bottom of the agenda after 18. And we'll take them up if we have time, but we promise we'll get everybody out of here at 6:30. So if we get to that point and have to let it in the meeting, I doubt that there's anything any of us are going to say that's going to be that important. So, does anyone have an objection to those changes to the agenda? No objection. I'm going to tell you I propose to make that move. Somebody approve.
I move that we approve the agenda as you had mentioned.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a
You got it
second.
written down.
Yeah.
You did get it, Janet?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Moving then to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the April 20 meeting, approval of warrants in the amount of $64,363.42, payroll in the amount of $47,697.23, the March 2026 financial report, and the first quarterly financial report for 26 as well. Anyone wish to pull any of those out for any questions or discussions?
Yeah, I had one on page 1 of the schedule of claims. There was $1,541 for wildlife CVR border states industry. Just curious what that was.
Some electrical.
Oh, that's electrical terminology. Okay. There was another one. It's further down here. Should have been ready. Oh, and then further down on page 3, there was fishing, Kansas fishing rigs.
That's
$600.
Megan asked for that.
Oh, that's what goes on the fishing.
Yeah.
The ad for the
Ad.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Just clearing up what those were for. That's all I had.
Anyone else have anything? If not, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. That takes us to public forum. If anyone's here wishing to make any comments to the council about anything, this would be the opportunity. Yes, sir.
Just to introduce, most of you all know Judd because he's been here a while, but Clara is here now, and she will be gone for a couple of weeks next, and then we'll be back in here for several months after that. So, welcome, Clara.
Talked to Clara on the phone the other day, and when she comes back, I said I'd buy her a cup of coffee. I don't know if you drink coffee, but I'm buying you a cup of coffee. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go then to, we're going to, as we said before, we're going to drop 7 and 8 down. So department reports. Does anyone have any questions for any of the department heads that are here? to those department heads that are here, any of you, I recognize that you're used to being called upon to have something to say, and I appreciate that. But because we're trying to condense the time frame table for tonight, I'm not, if there's something you had planned on saying, I want you to say it, but if not, I'm gonna skip you. Yes, sir, Chief.
Yeah, real quick, we did start our free chlorine burnout today, and that's really all I have. We did get the other 2 automatic fire hydrant flushers repaired, and so all 6 of those are out, and we'll move them throughout the next month, as needed to help move the chlorine around.
Good.
Other than that, go ahead.
Thank you.
The only thing I had to report from the police department is, we are looking at hiring, our 4th officer. So I just wanted to remind the council and then the public watching, our process of interviewing is it's a multitude of different things. We have a panel interview, we have an interview with the chief and assistant chief, we have a written test, and then we have a polygraph exam. So just wanted to remind everybody that that's how we do that, part of our hiring. But that's all I had to share tonight.
I was talking to James before the meeting and found out that the chief of police in Council Grove was at odds with the mayor. He's a really good chief of police. I told James, I would tell him we got a job if he needs one. I'm sorry, not as chief of police.
What a thing to say.
I did not mean it that way.
So that's all I had. I don't have anything to say about that.
Thank you.
Although that hurt.
Usually I intend to be nasty, and I was not intending it.
Real quick, 120 West Santa Fe, they've completed that up. I think we're gonna get some grass seed put down on that. And been sending out notices, and yards are getting mowed. Getting good response out of the notices this year. 201 North Freeborn, a house is just about to start construction. I think there was a little bit of a deal with some setbacks, but I think that's gonna get all cleared up. We're looking to set up a meeting for the code committee, for code updates. Probably have it so it's a Zoom meeting so that, that'll make it easier for the members to attend, because we're kind of scattered around and we all got things going on. And O'Brien on the East Forest Street. We talked about that at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We discussed that. The chairman come up with a suggestion on a country commercial district where he could have a business, and he could build a business there that wouldn't be built upon a conditional use permit or anything like that. And, so the Planning Commission is looking at putting together a country commercial district that would allow for animals.
So we would be creating a new.
A new district.
Okay.
Yep.
Category. Or
Yep.
whatever, yeah. Okay. And that's, the business people understand that, and?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep. O'Brien, thought that was a great idea. He liked that. He liked hearing that.
Council members have any questions for her? Okay, thanks very much. We're gonna then skip 7 and 8, and we're gonna go to you, Darren. With regard to the floodgate and also the conservation plan and the ordinance. I asked you to be here about the floodgate, because you and I have discussed it, and just so that, I think, make sure the public doesn't think they're in danger of drowning. Would you just basically repeat what you told me about how that's set up and the situation?
Okay, so back when the levee was installed, late 70s, there was the tube actually was installed up on the north end of the creek. That tube is a 24-inch pipe. There's also a 24-inch pipe under Main Street, and the gate that goes out clear on the south end of town is that same 24-inch. It was set up so that it was, on a day-to-day basis, it's an equivalent pass-through. so that there was still some flow inside the city. Whether that gate is closed or not will make zero difference during a flood event inside the levee. In other words, everything that we're gonna see collected inside the levee during a big, huge, heavy rain is stuff that lands here inside the city. It's not stuff coming from outside. So if there's a huge rain north of town where Mud and Clear Creek come from, and that water was clear up to the top of the levee, hydraulically, no water gallons per minute wise is gonna come through that tube than is right now today when that gate is fully open. So it doesn't make a difference if that is open or closed during a flood event outside the levee. You know, it'll increase the velocity because there's a higher head pressure if the water's deeper on the outside, but it won't increase the volume. So if we ever have, if downtown or any place ever floods inside the levee, it's because we got 6 inches of rain inside the levee. So that gate, I don't want anybody to think, oh, hey, that gate's stuck half open, we're in jeopardy of flooding. No, that would not happen.
So is the purpose of it then just to be able to keep
Yes.
some flow on
Correct.
the creek?
It was able to keep flow inside the creek, inside the levee, yes. And a balanced flow. That's why it's set up like it is, so that it's the same size of structures, tubes, culverts, all the way through. So, in fact, if the water got high enough outside before we'd ever see flooding, additional water coming through that tube, we'd actually see water come across the bridges, both on the Highway 256 and on 3rd Street. So we'd actually be getting water back inside the levee from, well, and the old train bridge access also. We'd actually get water from those 3 points before we'd get any excess coming through the tube. So yes, it's nice to have the gate there, don't get me wrong. It's something that we should look at making sure is operable. But are we in jeopardy of flooding during an event in the downtown because of that gate being non-operable right now? No.
I've been griping about it for 2 years, because I want flow on Moose Creek. It looks like a swamp right now, not the creek that, when I moved here, it was attractive. But we'll talk about that another day, we gotta move on.
Isn't there also a secondary, if it was to flood and get so high, isn't the ditch system along behind the old straw building?
Yes.
Is
So-
like the secondary emergency
Yeah,
that would
so-
flow into the Cottonwood?
Well, it actually
Before-
does, it flows in via the same entry point or exit point, but that old entire channel you're talking about that's all down here in the valley, kind of that southwest corner of the valley, all those channel systems are the old Cottonwood River before the levee was put in. So yes, that's why we can't build anything or do any dirt work in those areas, because those are that secondary containment. Those are that volume. This would take secondary ponding, for lack of a better term, if we ever did have water inside the levee. It's part of the built-in calculation that the Corps did way back then to accommodate.
I just have a quick question. So is it stuck kind of half open? Is that what you're saying?
That's,
Like-
is that where it's at right now, is half open?
So has that reduced then the flow?
Yes,
Quite a bit?
but
So if
you
we,
gotta remember, it's reduced the flow, but at the same time, like I said, any flow is kind of based on what can happen on the other end.
Right.
So a couple weeks ago, when we had more of the plug down clear on the south end, it backed up. So what we saw north of Main Street was about 2 feet higher than normal.
Okay.
So yes, there was still some flowing in, but it really couldn't flow through because
Right.
we were backed up way down south. Once
Okay.
they broke that open and it was flowing still through again, yes, you get a flow through. It's a very slow flow through because it's only taking in what it can go out.
Right,
So it's almost sucking water in as much as it is there's water being pushed in from the
Yeah.
creek.
okay.
It's kind of a balance, because
Yeah.
that pipe up there on the north of the highway, if you ever go up and take a closer look, it's at a 90-degree angle to the creek. So as water's rounding that bend and turning and going back to the west, the water's not flowing right into, it's gotta make a turn to go into that pipe. Well, water doesn't like to make a turn,
Yeah.
so the water that's going through that tube is just what's naturally flowing there, not under any kind of hydraulic pressure.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on, Darren, to the, well, you got 2 items, the
Yes,
municipal water.
and
conservation.
they're both combined.
Yeah.
So to submit the intended use, for the intended use plan, you have to have on file with the Department, Kansas Water Office and Division of Water Resources, an up-to-date water conservation plan. And we have one, there is one on file, but the state preferred that it be updated. So it wasn't, so they accepted your IUP that we submitted, the pre-application, because you already had one on file. They said, hey, let's get this one updated as soon as we can. So this is purely an update. What that water conservation plan does is it outlines a 3-tier system of, hey, if we ever get into an emergency situation, and if we drop to, either our usage is staying up, or the pool out at the reservoir drops below a certain percent, or we can't pump out, or the clear wells drop below a certain percent on a multiple day basis, there's some trigger points that happen. There's multiple trigger points for each of the 3 tiers. If those happen, then Jason just reports it up to Brian, Brian reports it to you guys, and we'd go into an automatic, okay, here's what's gonna happen next. And until you get to tier 3, it really doesn't impact a lot of day-to-day activities here in the city. So that's what the conservation plan is. The ordinance that goes along with it is something, it's not new, but now they're saying, hey, you have to have that, and it's a partner to the plan, and that's just basically what the ordinance is saying is what the plan is. It's just it's the official being able to enact it from the city side. So a plan's a plan, but an ordinance has teeth.
Since you've been here in town, have we ever had to go into any of these
No.
emergency water?
I'm gonna look at the other guys that have been here longer than me. I don't remember ever. Have we ever had to go into any of the tiers? I don't ever remember so. Think we ever have.
Just when they have the algae, then with the reservoir.
Okay, there you go.
I believe there was something years back with atrazine potentially levels in the reservoir, but they didn't have to stop it.
Yeah,
They were
because the
concerned about
atrazine doesn't come from the same level in the reservoir as what our pipes are.
So there was a fear that they'd have to, but they didn't, is kind of what I understood.
So that's it. We just need to adopt these just to stay up to date, but they're not a have to or else right now, but it's just nice to have updated. I think if I remember right, it was 2012. You remember what the date was?
13.
13 was the last. So, and they like to have them within 10 years is what their rule of thumb is, but they're not gonna say no to you on the IUP because you had one in place, so. They'd like you to update it, but it wasn't we're gonna stop you from applying if you don't do the update right now.
Did everyone get a chance to look through that?
Yeah.
Since it's merely an update,
I don't think we changed a whole lot. In fact, I went back and checked with Janet so we could check back in the other ordinances when you get down to the penalty phases. I know we didn't change those because we actually went back and double checked and they mirror your regular water ordinances, you know, if you get cut off for any other reason, you know, what the reconnect fees are and time frames. So we didn't change any of that. I'm pretty sure we didn't change any of the numbers in the trigger points.
Council, would you like to go ahead and act on those tonight then, on this tonight?
That's fine with me.
Then I'm going to make a motion. You want us to approve the plan and the ordinance?
You can do it all in one if it's okay with administration. There's no reason not to.
Well, I'll move that we adopt the municipal water conservation plan update and then enact ordinance number 1524, which covers drought and emergency, well, water, drought, and emergency, that ordinance. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
What that also does, you know, let's just say Jason has the worst day of his life and all the high service pumps go out at the same time, you know, so all we had left was what was in the towers for a day or two. That would be an immediate, okay, we could drop clear to tier 3, just instantly let everybody know and go into instant conservation mode. So it gives you the kind of the teeth for the administrative staff to push that forward out. So.
It was approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, I hear Clayton and number 11 would like to be moved to number 20.
We'll make note of that.
There's been a trade, and pick number 10 will now belong to Lloyd. You're up next. Yeah.
creek.
To talk about, well, you live on the creek.
If we could blow up that bridge and get it flowing faster, that'd be much healthier.
If you would shut up.
Sorry. Got out of here by 10.
So, Amy had mentioned the concerns that she has heard with regard to people being unable to do online bill paying for the city. And I had talked with Lloyd about this previously. I think you talked to Lloyd about it. And anytime I talk to Lloyd, well, I emailed him today. And I have to be able to ask questions because otherwise I do not understand what he's saying.
Okay.
So would you you had proposed that we could address the issue with not being able to do online bill paying by making use of something we already have.
Correct.
Okay. Would you run with it from there, please?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
That's what we talked about, right?
It's what we talked about already, yeah. Basically, G-Works, which is your vendor for the city bills and our utility billing, the utility billing software was in place or has been in place since forever, what you click on to pay your city bills. Stopped working about the end of last August, September. We did a lot of troubleshooting and reverse engineering, talking to G-Works and bringing in some of other experts, kind of see where the problem was. And it lies in the software and the utility billing software, which G-Works is basically retired, even though they're still supporting it. Their support people that wrote the software are gone, but they have a product that supersedes it, and it's called Front Desk. You're actually in two parts. You've got your utility billing software and you've got your day-to-day city billing software called Summit, running on two different servers. We worked with G-Works talking about that. The city, as my understanding, you gotta correct me if I'm wrong, has already paid for going to the Front Desk product, which would move the city bills into the cloud, okay? We could do that without upgrading the existing software to their Front Desk product. So the gist I got is they haven't been able to fix it, even though we showed them exactly what the problem is. We've gone to your bill paying vendor, which is Dex. That all works, everything's fine there. They've moved on to another product. And so Brian was pretty forthcoming with them saying, hey, we're paying for this, fix it. They don't seem to be able to fix it, wants us to move to Front Desk. My concern was this Front Desk bill paying in the cloud. Wanted to make sure that it was compatible with the existing system, because Janet and Becky and everybody there has to go through a learning process to go to the new product in-house. And G-Works has said that they've already put their utility billing in the cloud and it works at other places. So that's kind of where we were by the end of February, and that was about the time that the water meter software and cutover and all that started happening. So I guess the gist of it is pulling the trigger for changing that, and the gals up front have to make that change, working with the new product while also handling the meter software cutover at the same time. So does that make sense? Kind of. My big thing when I asked G-Works, I said, how much is it going to cost the city? They said, you've already paid for this. So it's already in place. It's part of your existing contract. You understand that as it's already paid for, okay? So
They asked if we were gonna get a discount because it wasn't working, but no, we were paying for the new system ahead of time. I was thinking about pulling the trigger on that, but then the water meter stuff came in and we're doing, well, about 1,000 work orders because it's about 1,000 meters, and Becky's pretty buried. And a lot of that has to be done manually until the new software goes into effect, and go into effect, all the meters are in. So I thought, well, they probably did need one more thing to try to do. We would just get by trying to continue to take phone calls to make the payments or have them drop them off, versus adding yet another lever. level is something that, we'd have to learn at the same time as we learn the new meter system. So I figured the stress on them wasn't worth it, we'd just keep going for a little while longer. If we get this button down, then we can look at going to the other and make that happen.
How long do you
Take
think that'll be before they get to that point? Roughly, obviously you don't know exactly, but
2028,
Well,
2025.
Well, it should be done. He
Not
said
too
2
long.
weeks to put it in place, so if it looks like we're wrapping up, I can call him and have him start working on it. So it'll take about 2 weeks to turn that new system on. I don't know, we're 600-700 meters in, I think, so we're getting pretty close.
Yeah, they were moving fast. I was
Yeah,
surprised.
we've been fortunate, we had good weather in Charlie, and Tish Leaders is getting them done, so inside 60 days?
We were also working with the vendor of your water meters, because they have to change the data integration with Summit, and they're completing that piece so that they can actually run the software that reads the data coming in from the new meters, so that's been about 3 or 4 weeks, so they're pretty close to being done, I think, so.
All I have heard, since I started this gig, was that G-Works is horrible, outdated, doesn't work well, slows everything down, takes more time and effort than it should. And I heard that from Mark, and I've heard it from Brian, I've heard it from Janet, I've heard it from Becky. And I know, Brian, you had looked into whether there's looked into getting a new software to replace it with. But we've already got this, how do you call it, desk-bound, front desk product. So we don't lose any, I mean, we can activate that and use it however long. If we done
Right.
G-Works, we'll just then have to learn the new program that we adopt,
Yeah,
right?
we're correct. And I talked to Hillsborough, they were going to, I keep thinking of railroads, BSI, something like that. But their implementation's like a year long, so even if we did some changeover to another product, we're talking about some time, probably into next year before everything could be in place, so. But yeah, I've worked with G-Works for forever, it seems like. They have some good techs and everything. I know they got bought out a couple of years ago, but I use it from the back end side. You know, what I usually say, I can keep the movie running, but I may not know what it's about. So they get to watch the movie and live with it. So from my standpoint, I can keep things going, and their tech support's good from the back end of it. As for the software, that's not something I really deal with.
I looked at one vendor, I just had a meeting with another vendor last week on accounting software, and I'm waiting for a quote to come in from them. Both of them are 3/4 in a year, probably to replace it 9 months to take over. So as soon as we pull the trigger on that, then it's 9 months before it goes into place. We'll obviously need to get this bill paying to go online sooner. We've paid for front desk, we'll get it going. And then there's going to be a conversion fee. Let's talk about all those things too.
Lloyd, I don't expect you to have the answer to this, but.
I could make something up.
What'd you say?
I could make something up.
You're good at that.
You remember my dad, I'm gonna be a
I
smart
do,
ass when I
yeah.
want to.
So, okay, so we're saying right now that, gosh, until we get the water meter thing up and running, we don't wanna take on anything else. What kind of timeline are we looking at once we say, okay, we're gonna convert over and do this? This is a narrower scope, it's
Right.
just, but are we looking at 6 months to get it going, or
Oh,
are we
hell
looking at 6 weeks?
no.
Couple of months, or no, a couple of weeks, Joe. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
About 2 weeks, he said. We gotta learn it and understand it. Hopefully, they train us well enough, in 2 weeks, we can move forward with
Yeah,
it.
it's a training on their side more than anything.
So we're saying, I mean, based on what you said earlier, you think that you said inside of 60 days, so do we think it's a realistic time frame to say that by July 1st, that we've got online bill pay?
It's not quite 60 days, but okay, but you're right. Hopefully, by then, yeah. I mean, we wanna get it done. It's extra work to do it the other way, but we do wanna get it done, so.
We just need to be
Yeah.
moving on this. I mean, it has been forever since it's been working, and there's a ton of frustration within the community for it not to be working. So we gotta make some moves on this and set some deadlines and say go.
We had a lot of frustration with the two vendors blaming each other.
Yeah,
for it,
I
so-
understand.
Yeah, and that's one thing that held us up, trying to find a solution, and, no one wanted to make the solution, so when I said, I don't wanna pay for any more of this, and it's like, well, we're gonna move it, I'm like, well, that would've been nice, you told us that before, maybe we could've done that, so, but that didn't come up till I threatened to not pay.
Well, Brett, I think, Zach, you're kind of thinking this, my thought was, if we're not in a position to say, okay, let's make this move now, if we could at least pick a date and be able to tell the public, this is our target date, we're hopeful we can, it needs to be something realistic, but, because I don't want to say, hey, it's going to be then, and then we have to do it all over again, but at least be able to say it's not just being ignored, and you will be able to do this again.
We can say July 1st, and I'll push them to start the process. And ask them not to cut us off on what we're doing now until.
Well, if you do July 1st, that means you not only need to get the water meter thing done,
Yeah.
you need to then get this installed, and you need to get the training on how to use it done.
I don't think there's any installation process there when it comes to the front desk side of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the
it's-
training.
All in there.
I mean, based on what you said, it was a
They're
2-week
just-
implementation.
yeah,
It's
it's
from
more-
when we say go,
Okay.
they're saying that it's training and everything could be done in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just getting them up to speed.
We'll push
And
them
I
under.
understand that there would be, just because we're trained up in 2 weeks doesn't mean that everybody's gonna have their head wrapped around it perfectly. I'm not expecting that, but
We'll try.
we've gotta make some
Right,
forward
we'll try.
movement.
Well, I'll go ahead and get a hold of him and tell him to start rolling the wheels. And, because it may take a while to get our training to us, but we'll at least push them, tell them we gotta have it by here, or, I don't know. I could tell them we're looking around for other software. I mean, they're losing municipalities all over Kansas, so, surely they're noticing that.
Amy?
No other comment?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No other comment.
I wouldn't, well,
Oh.
I'm sorry, I just meant, you were the one that brought this to my attention.
Yeah.
Are you,
I think that sounds good. I think especially since, it's already been paid for, we have it. And I know everything's been busy, but if we can get on, like Zach said, and get a date just in mind, because it'll be a year, I think, in August. And I think it would just be even more of a process if we looked for other vendors, had to pay that and get that implemented in and have it be a full other year by the time we even find somebody that's good enough. So, yeah, same page.
okay, so the plan, as I'm understanding it, is that we're going to enable Brian or direct Brian to, through the website or whatever other mechanism he chooses to use, communicate to the public that we know that the inability to take online payments has been very irritating, and that plan in place should have that up by July 1st.
They can still come in and pay by credit card.
Yeah, but that's not the same as just sitting down at your computer and
Clicking on it.
clicking on it.
We understand that. We've explained that many times.
See, that was.
Okay, that's a fine. I was, came to listen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Garnica.
All right, I'm here on behalf of the Chingawassa Committee. We have been busy planning since September of last year for the 28th year of Chingawassa Days. Fairly excited for this year. So Friday night, we have a double headliner band out of Nashville, Lacade and Eddie and the Getaway. And Saturday night,
Eddie who?
Eddie and the Getaway.
And the Getaway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So both, they're like a Nickelback type band with a country twang. So
So everybody hates them?
maybe, I don't know. We'll find out.
Personally, I like Nickelback, and I don't understand why everybody hates them,
Right.
but they do. Okay, go ahead.
And then Saturday is a pretty big win, we feel, for the community with having Eli Young Band here. So they will be very, very good for us in the community. So buttons went on sale today. You can buy them in person at the various businesses. Brochures and posters will be distributed this week. So you should start seeing a lot of flyers and a lot more of what we've been working on in the background. So, yeah, I hope you guys I think it'll be a good win for the town. Pretty excited this year. Committee's been working really hard. So the other reason I'm here is to request that we can do the beer garden again. We'll keep it the same as last year. We opened it up to just half the park. So the north half of the park is still, it's fenced in half, so the beer stays in basically the concert side of things. So I listed, there's a map I put in your packet, if you can see it, and then our beer garden rules, and spoke with the PD and have not had an issue, so.
I think it's better having the whole thing open like that because only having even 5 or 6 couches, it's not enough because people were wanting to come up to the stage, so having the whole area open actually made our job a lot easier, because then we don't have to police them, you stay all the way back.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Didn't have any major issues last year? Okay, good.
We haven't had any major issues since we've had the beer garden.
The expansion of it, was last year the first year of that, or was it 2 years?
Last year was the second year of
Yeah,
it.
okay. So I thought, so the question is, are we going to approve the beer garden as proposed?
I'm good with it.
Well, let's just go ahead and take a vote. Who wants to make a motion?
I move that we approve the beer garden proposal for Changawassa 2026 as it is proposed.
Second.
Discussion?
There is one thing on there I noticed, the proceeds going to the Marion Advancement Campaign, that's now the Marion Community Foundation, I believe. Just to
That
update your
changed,
paperwork.
sure.
It'll still go to the same place, I think, but.
I noticed that, but I didn't want to be
I
that guy.
just wanted to do it.
That guy.
We'd have to do it next year if it didn't.
Yep, need a change. Good to know, thank you.
Yep.
All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Ayes have it unanimously. Thank you, Clayton.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Okay, number 12, you're all aware of this. You've seen the proclamation. The one thing that I think is necessary is to actually name a room in the building. Needs to be or should be a council action. So the proposal is that the meeting room that used to be the old council chambers. I get tired of saying the old council chambers. And in recognition of Margot and all that she did for the community and the status that the community holds her in, the proposal is to name that the Margot Yates Community Room. So I, at this time, make that as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in
I have a
favor, aye?
question.
I'm sorry?
I have a question real quick.
Yes.
Can we get it to when the door opens, that it triggers like Margot's laugh? That would be, is that
It
possible?
would cut down on people entering the room. I love that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. Margot would love that.
She would have laughed when you said that.
Well, she's not dead, she's still there. Okay, Brian, do you want to speak to item 15?
Yeah, item 15 is brought back to you from the last meeting. We sent out to you all the quotes that we got from the vendors to look at.
15 cereal malt beverage.
Oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Yeah, cereal malt beverage license is for the 56 Travelers Cafe up on the highway north side of town. They've been approved by the state to get that cereal malt beverage, and it's in front of you to concur with that or not.
Trying to find it. Looked at it previously.
Page 29, if you're flipping through numbers there.
Now I gotta turn it around. Anyone have any concerns or questions with regard to the application? Everybody know where we're talking about?
Yep. And so they've already passed with the state, it now comes to us, so.
Yeah, it's going that direction now, where previously it would have gone here and there, but now it goes to state first, then comes this way.
I Cereal malt beverage goes to the state?
Yeah, and it's changed.
They changed that?
The applicant
That's what I
has
was-
to apply for it themselves
Through
with
the
the state.
state, even
The
for
state
CMB stuff?
approves it and then sends it back to the applicant who brings it in to me to issue the license.
There's no zoning issues with anything up there, is there? For, I mean, they've already got a,
Well, the applications on this, not cereal malt beverage, but the alcohol license, that's part of what the clerk has to do, is confirm that it's, the location's not prohibited by zoning or anything. Did they have you fill out that form like they asked you to do on the other kind of license?
I think CMB, that's what I was questioning.
CMB is different.
CMB's different.
Well, it used to be, yeah, very different.
I know.
I mean, obviously I don't want to approve it if it's a zoning issue, but
Can we approve it pending that there is no violation of zoning? In which case
Provisionally,
it would have
yeah.
to come back?
okay, I'm gonna make a motion that provided there is no conflict with city zoning rules, that the liquor license be, cereal malt beverage license be approved.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Ayes have it unanimously. Thank you. And Brian, now we're on the telephone thing.
Telephone one, okay, so, yeah, we got, sent you this stuff after the meeting last week to review the quotes. The voice analysis, we're saving money, cutting from Verizon. We'll keep the cell phone service with them, but moving our internet and in-house VoIP, voice over internet protocol, or whatever the P stands for, will save us some money, and we're getting 2 gigs speed, which we weren't gonna get previously.
That's with Vive?
Yes.
So that's just, there's a lot of numbers here. So with the Vive, that's the $986.50. Is that then our monthly or portion of that just upfront cost? And then there's a different monthly amount, or, I was just trying to understand
I think that was the monthly.
because it's just hard to read when it copied over. I'm assuming that's gonna be monthly.
Yes.
Service terms 60 months, but, because then
I think
that's,
that'd be right, Tim, because I think, so if we say yes to this, we pay the $986.50 monthly, and the $99.95 is the install cost, so we would actually be approving
Right.
basically $1,086.50 as a $100 install fee, and then that. Like, do you think that's accurate, Brian?
Yes, based on the terrible copy I'm reading. Yes, it just says installation in that column.
okay.
So that'd be the
I just
install.
couldn't read that column.
Yeah, that is the installation column, and the other column is the, ongoing service. And it's a term of 60 months.
Yeah. Because then that's comparing to Idea Tech that instead would be $2,300 a month with a $1,150 one-time installation fee. So
Yes.
it's quite a bit difference in price.
Yes.
Lloyd was pretty not adamant, but he seemed to definitely feel like the Vive offer was the better offer for us. And
Yeah.
he really, we have had a relationship with him for, he said 20 years, that's, I would assume, right. They weren't Vive at the time, but,
EagleCom
Yeah.
before,
yeah.
so they're obviously very invested in trying to have our business.
Well, they need to be really invested because they got a lot of competition now
Yes.
that they didn't have before.
And a couple of the other quotes in there are for vendors that just do the voice over internet, they don't provide the internet service. So we had 2 apples and 2 oranges.
Stephen had mentioned about the poles that Vive had left.
Yeah.
And Lloyd did say he talked to Tony from Vive and that they're coming out and taking care of that. So that will be taken care of.
Tony from Vive, like Jake from State Farm.
Literally, Tony.
Well, yeah, I've mentioned that to Lloyd when, he was talking to me about it too, but, I mean, I don't wanna be strong-arming them, but they need to get it done, so that's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
We're getting close to redoing their agreement too with the city to
Yeah.
operate, so
Yeah.
that's our motivator.
Okay, is there further discussion, or is there a motion?
So that's just those other quotes are separate things that would be alternatives to those.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Idea Tech's the one that matches this one most closely.
Okay. So, those don't really matter if we go with that. With the Vive, that's separate
Right.
from it.
Right.
Gotcha. I just make sure it wasn't that's in addition to the Vive.
No, those are all
Okay.
just, what we received.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion that we approve the switch over to, or are we switching over, or are we just?
Yes, they're gonna port the numbers. We've gone through a list of port numbers of
Okay,
with all the phones.
so we're accepting the Vive, proposal for phone service and
And
internet
internet
service.
service, yes.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we do that.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Ayes have it unanimously. Next up, Janet, are you gonna speak to this, the reformatting of the quarterly report?
Our, quarterly report is quite confusing to read. It's got, and it was suggested to me that we, a cleaner look and more easy to read would be like what the city of Hillsborough uses and what the city of Florence uses, which just shows the expenditures and the revenue, and then it gives you the total, which is a whole lot easier than, you guys have what we currently use. Just wanted to know your opinion on that, making that change to something similar to what other towns are using.
You mind if I piggyback off of?
No, I do not at all.
So Janet and I were talking, and she said that Eric Meyer, you're like Cher, just one name. That Eric had noticed an error, and in the exchange with regard to that, I had kind of asked, like, why do you do this and look at what these other places do? And Janet's comment to me is, I looked at them, and both of them are a lot better than what we're doing. So I want to commend her for being upfront about that, commend Eric for the help, and I think we need to do it. It's so much easier to read, and, you know, maybe not for Tim, but when you're a dumb guy.
Doesn't break it down as much, but
It doesn't break
it's
it
how
down.
much you need broke down.
I
guess.
think
I
that's,
can-
that was
I can
what
still do
thought.
math, so.
Yeah, I can't, but yeah. So basically, does anyone have any objection to utilizing this different format?
No, I like it.
That's fine.
I don't think we need to do anything more than that.
Thank you.
Thank
Good job,
you.
Janet.
And thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, Brian, budget information?
Yes, it's 10 pages in this size font. It'd be a lot more in all the fonts, so I'd like to electronically email it to you. I think you'll have a much easier time digesting it. This is the departments and their submitted amounts for each department. This is their wish list numbers, so it's not final. We don't have the revenue information yet from the county. And I don't have the schedule yet to verify our calendar from the state yet. I will go look at that. I went to that meeting in Hillsborough today, and but I'll look at the state website and see if they've verified what I think their calendar is going to be for approvals. I don't think it'll be far off, but I won't know till they publish it. So, but I'll send you the wish list from everybody.
So what we will get is not just that, we're gonna get each department's.
If this is each department, broken down, up and down. Okay, so you'll see what their entries are for every account
Right,
number.
but it's not a one-page document.
Oh, no, this
Yeah,
is,
that's
this
my-
is 10, and this is small, so I didn't want to put you through this.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to kill a ream of paper either, so I'll send it to you electronically, and we can review from there. But
Yeah.
you'll see what everybody's numbers are.
Are you going to, before we start digging through it, are you going to go through with each department head and talk with each department head and make your decision as to whether I'm gonna recommend to the council this much or more
Yes,
or less?
and I've done
or-
some of that, but I haven't done it with everybody yet.
Okay.
And we don't have the revenue side of it yet, so it's, until I get that, I can't tell you what we're gonna take off of this yet.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we will
But,
make that conversation.
I mean, we have the ability to decrease our mill levy, increase our mill levy,
Mhm.
keep it the same.
Right.
And I guess my only point is that maybe we decide we need to increase the mill levy. That's not my preference, but
Yeah.
we need to know if Jason's saying, hey, we're not gonna have decent water unless you give me this thing, then it would be good to know, so we can have that discussion, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I just want to see what the difference is,
Yeah.
and what we think the revenue will be, and what it could be, and what we need to do adjust, should we want to do it all. But yeah, I've met with about half of them and gone over. So, nothing crazy. I mean, but it's all, you know, we've been kicking the can a while. So we need some new cans.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So, but I'll send this so you can at least kind of get a buzz through it and get an idea
Okay.
what the categories are. And you can see across the table, it's different for everybody. Some entries for some places, you know, the sewer has some things that obviously cemetery doesn't, and vice versa. But you can see at least what they're looking at. And the total dollar at the bottom of the page to show you what that amount would be.
It's a good feeling to be like 2 or 3 months ahead of where we were last year. That's a helpful thing, at least 2 months.
That's the goal,
That's the rule.
to be ahead
That is correct.
and not scrambling.
Okay, then, let's go to item 7, city administrator report. Probably kinda already got into some of your stuff, but.
That's okay. I did want to say that late last week, we made contact with a vendor that'll come and look at the gate on the north end of the creek. Finally got a company out of Kansas City, and they've morphed over the years, but somebody in that company knows what those gates are after 50 years. So they're gonna come look. It'll be later this month. I think it won't be till after the next board meeting, but I'll update you when we get some information. They're gonna go somewhere up north and see one, and then they're gonna come down and see us. So, got some hope we'll get it looked at. And then,
Can I, Tim, on the south end, the clog down there that the guys were working on, I think the estimate was it's opened up at least 50% or something like that? It's 100% now? Hot dog, good job. Excellent.
Unless something got in there.
Yeah, right, yeah, it'll start filling back up immediately, sure. Okay, good.
so, okay. James mentioned, did he mention the hospital district earlier? I don't think he did.
No.
The planning commission met on the 28th. They're gonna have a public hearing on the 30th of June to talk about that, and then pending what they do, it'll come to you guys. And you'll have so we go from there. We'll have to schedule another public meeting, do a hearing, but we want to at least bring it to you for probably the first meeting in July, and give you the results of whatever they do, and then we'll move on from there. So, there wasn't a whole lot of extra thoughts or ideas from what was printed, and, unless that changes at the hearing, we'll let you know.
Okay.
But they were pretty open to the idea. The algae buoy system, City of Hillsborough is gonna talk about their side of it tomorrow at their meeting. I saw their interim city administrator today, and he thinks they're probably gonna be on board for doing it. So, and they'll pay the balance that we talked about. And I sent them a brief letter mentioning what you approved last time, that if they do it, we'll do it kind of thing. Or we'll figure something else out. But they seem to be moving in that direction to take care of it. The
the peddler permit process. Well, as everybody noticed, we had a pretty good hailstorm, and there's been roofers and signs and cars and trucks and people going door to door. So the process is that vendors that want to go door to door need to come in and get a peddler's permit from the city. We signed up over 63 individuals, because it's not just per company, it's per individual. A large portion of those are coming in and paying and getting the 6 month. A few did for less days. So we're still, and we even had 2 more applications come in at the end of the day today. So we're doing background checks on them. And with James, we're doing a check on the state website to make sure they're vendors in good standing with the state. We're publishing that good standing list online so people can see it. They are allowed to go without, they are allowed to go see people that had previous business, maybe from 6 years ago when we had roofing done, or if they'd done roofing for them at any time. There was no permit for that. And there was also, you know, if they stop and ask them a question, or if they call the company, they're welcome to go to the home. They just can't go next door or on the block and start knocking doors. The night of the storm, I had one knock on my door, and he was in the next to get his peddler's permit. So that, I think that's going pretty smooth. I think the public understands.
Was he the one that had a warrant for his arrest?
No. No, that was out of state, not in state, but no, he was not that individual.
I don't really care whether it's out of state or in state, if they
Well.
got a warrant for their arrest.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we're doing the background checks on that. Central Park merry-go-round. The materials are supposed to be here tomorrow, according to Marion Manufacturing. So there was some confusion on whether or not they were getting ordered, but when I visited them, they placed the order. So they'll be here, they'll start the work, and they know just as soon as they do whatever they have to do to that pole, we will bring the material over so they can finish the job. And the deadline to get it in before they start set up on Chingawassa is what we'd like to see done. And I think the bill was around $2,500, if I remember right.
That's what we said.
Where we're sitting, so, yeah. So hopefully, we're gonna be smooth sailing from here on. And I'll ping them in a week after, well, a week from tomorrow probably, and call and say, hey, where are we at? Can we bring that, if I haven't heard from them already. Just one more thing, but I thought I was talking about that. Okay, well, another meeting.
Yeah?
I got the audit report back to it late this afternoon, so I will email all you guys a copy of that draft.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim?
Well, since Jason is here, I had a question, kind of for you. It's not a big deal, but our backup water system, I mean, we pull out of the reservoir, and the backup is Mud Creek. And in reading some of our emergency plans and that, and talking, do we have a well, a drilled well, or did we used to have a drilled well that we would pull from, or could pull from?
We had one, but we don't.
Is that something that we should consider potentially having, that could be utilized as a backup, just in the future to start thinking about? Okay.
Where is it?
The old one was, Dinah and Greg Vogels, up north, clear up by, it wasn't Dinah, sorry, Jim.
It's a bowl.
Okay.
But it was up by Antelope, wasn't it?
Antelope.
Clear up by Antelope. So what they would do is turn that water on there, and that would come down the creek, Clear Creek, and that would push water into Blue Creek, and then we would be able to pull off of it.
Oh, wow.
Gotcha, but that's no longer operable, so.
So, yeah, I've visited with Darren just briefly about maybe doing some kind of well exploration and seeing what we can come up with, but.
I think it's kind of a nightmare, isn't it, with Kansas to try and get them to, I mean, because essentially they're signing over more water rights to us at that point, even if it's a
Yes.
backup.
Yeah.
Or not signing, I mean, we'd have to
Even if
purchase
it's drilled
them,
in city limits?
because the state of Kansas owns all of
Oh,
them.
do they? Alright, well, that's just a thought that I had. So you're here, I was gonna question that, so. Clarify whether or not,
No,
what there was in the past.
That's a whole nother thing we could, go into deep conversation about, cause there are two pumps that are back there in Little Creek, but, just recently we tried to operate them. We got one of them to operate, but, they are severely silted in. And the equipment we had on hand, we couldn't pull it, either one of them, to try to free them from the sill. See if we could clean them up, you know, make them run a little better. Again, something we can explore and discuss further. It needs to be, but then we never had an incident or anything.
Yeah.
Better to have a plan than no plan at all.
I have a well that my sprinkler system operates off of, so you can send the kids across the street in the morning.
Wash their clothes, good.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Have we got any updates on the water meter reading through metal lids, or what was the?
No, we haven't turned them on. I don't think we turned them on. We haven't tried to read them now. We were just manually reading because they're not all in yet. I think we have to wait till they're all in.
But I thought you were checking to see if it was gonna work.
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, we gotta wait till that all gets in place, they go live, and then we can check them.
There's no way to check
They
it.
will-
ones read for years. I don't know what would really change.
We'll hope the technology's better, they just weren't guaranteeing it, so,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, Tim, I don't think you were here last meeting, but Brian said that, I hate this, Brian said that you said that they said. How many levels of hearsay is that? But that the question was asked, and that they said, yeah, they would work. Is that accurate?
Well, see, Mark handled some of that too at the time.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure, I know we asked because metal lids do, or metal does cause interference sometimes, but I can't. That's been a long time ago when we talked about that, so written down somewhere, no. But I'm sure we talked about it. Pretty sure we did. So, but like I said, Mark handled some of that too at the time. So.
If I felt like I needed new tires for my car, and I went over to Webster's and asked Barry to sell me some tires, and he did, and then they got here, and here's your new tires, oh, by the way, they won't fit your rims, or whatever, that show my ignorance there, but won't fit your car. I'd be really upset, because I'm clearly buying tires to fit that car. And I feel like if that company, surely they knew, I don't know, I'm kinda looking at you, Brian, but.
He didn't, I don't believe he said it would not work.
But somebody must have said something, or why are we even talking about this?
Well, it got brought up somewhere along the line.
There was a question raised, so, later. So, I don't know.
Who, by the company providing the meters, or?
Like, how did I think the question is, how did we, like, why did this even become an issue? Like, how did it get brought up and brought to anyone's attention that, hey, this
It
might
might
not
not
work through
work.
these metal
Yeah.
lids? Not way back. Like, why did this even become a thing? Did we bring up a question? Did the company bring up? Like, where did it come from? It didn't just show up on somebody's desk. Like, where did it come from? Brian? Tim?
I don't know, maybe the office talk about it, maybe talk about it.
Might have been, I don't know, I got it like a second, third, maybe fourth hand. So, maybe it's not as big an issue as I was led to believe, so maybe not.
Well,
See.
and it's really, I mean, it's one of those things where I really am anxious to know the answer, because once we know the answer, then we know what we're doing with regard to Roosevelt Street. Which, yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So the instant that you've got whatever needs to be lined up to do a test, please do, and if
We
they
will.
don't work, then we need to call the city attorney
Okay.
and see what, if any,
Well,
options we have.
once we get them turned on and we start trying to read them, we'll know real quick.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, I guess is there holes in the lids the signal can get out to? Is that, did I hear that? No?
Not the metal one.
Not the metal ones, okay.
The upgrade has a metal lid in the middle, and a plastic thing in the behind.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll try to get you a clear picture of that.
Nope, that's all I have.
I've got like 7 things, so I'm gonna save it for the end. Okay, well,
Just go for it.
Right back to you.
I would like, and I think Janet and Brian are probably gonna feel ambushed here, and I'm sorry for that, but I would like to have some council involvement in filling the vacant spot in the city office, the clerical position that Sandy had. And I've asked Amy if she would be willing to serve as chair of that board, or whatever you want to call it. And she said that she would. So, Brian, you know, you
Sure.
can use the same exact people as you just used before. I just want, I'm frustrated, and, you know, we might not be talking about what we were talking about on the utility billing if we had had that third position 6 months ago. If you don't want to have a 4-person interview group, would you be willing to serve as, just sit in on the interviews?
Sure.
So they'd have an odd number?
Sure.
Okay. So,
Okay, I mean, we're using your point scale, we're doing that for everybody, so the
I like
odds of
that.
a tie are lower, even with just 4, but yeah, we can do that. Well, I mean, we had
And
participation.
obviously, that is not scientific, I mean, but it's a way to try to judge each person on the same criteria.
Yeah.
But there's still room for, you got 5 people there, there's still room for conversation and determination, and you don't always have to pick the person that scores high.
True. It's just a way to kind of help quantify it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Than just trying to remember as
Yeah,
you're scoring as you go
that's
through it.
exactly
It does
right.
make a difference.
Okay, well, the water meter lids, we're cutting down the stuff here real quick. We did a 3% staff raise. There was a 6% proposal, we allowed 3, and then we sent the other 3 back for contemplation of assignment of additional raises via merit or some other system. Will you do anything on that?
It's tempting to do it, yes. If we hadn't had a hailstorm, I might have had it done.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
it's
that
still
kinda-
on the,
Yeah, oh, yeah, no, we're still, I'd like to get it done much sooner than later, but, yeah.
and I'll just throw this out, that some of this stuff we could do a study session on, but I still want to, we need to have a conversation on the comparable cities and what criteria, you know, is the best utilized to determine what's comparable and what isn't. But I'm just throwing that out so we don't forget about it.
That's fine.
Brian, it just seems like every time I turn around and you turn around, there's something breaking in this building or elsewhere that I don't think we've done anything that isn't probably essential, and we have to fix it. And none of those are budgeted items. You know, the air conditioning units on top of this building wasn't one, then there's several of them. And I would, and I'm sure built into some of the budgets, there's some wiggle room space for unanticipated expenses, but nevertheless, there's been, you know, we're starting the 5th month of the year, and there's been a lot. In your spare time, if you could, and this might be something you just, I'd love to have you compile a list of some of those unbudgeted, unexpected, maybe unexpected is a better way of putting it, things that we've had to deal with.
Well, we had some expected ones too. We had like the fuel system at the airport, but there was no match saved.
Yeah, that's, okay, that's fair.
So, yeah, we got some of those things that we're up against too.
Yeah.
And I was gonna bring it today, but I didn't have the info back yet from the bank. on the electric bucket truck, we have a 3-year, you agreed to a 3-year loan at the 4.25 or whatever it was, the 4.26 APY. That's like an $8,000 some a month payment. We would like to extend that to a 5-year and drop that down to like a $5,000 some payment, save us about $3,000 a month. Partly because the truck's coming in sooner than we thought it would. Partly because we have $17,000 of AC repairs for the ballroom and the various other things that we have going on. Darren has applied to get some more grant money from the state to help the offset on the fuel tank system. No guarantee. They did get money back. There's probably going to be some available, and we're kind of early on the list and requesting, so that's in our favor. But yeah, we're getting hit with a few things that we hadn't anticipated. So the bank did say, yeah, they were okay. We could switch to the 5-year versus the 3. I didn't have it written on here because I didn't have an answer back yet, but I will bring that to the next council meeting unless you want to do some kind of verbal today. But
I think it'd be better if we did it in a regular meeting.
that's fine. We have time because we're not going to finalize that loan until close to the first part of June anyway. So, but anyway, FYI, that's coming.
Then a couple of FYI things of my own. Did not know this until this morning when I looked at my city email. This is National Nurses Week. And
What'd you say that? It's what?
National Nurses Week. And the nurses at Marion County Hospital, or St. Luke Hospital, are having as part of their celebration of the week some sort of Survivor, the TV show Survivor game. And one of this nurse's tasks was to email the mayor and see if he would show up and take a selfie with her. So I did that. And she was in the emergency room helping with something when I got there, and I didn't demand she come out and do a selfie. I went back later and got that done. But I thought that was cool, and so I just, the medical community, I think Marion's really well served, and we see small hospitals closing all over the country and struggling, and by all appearances, ours is, holding its own quite well, and there's good people working there. So, National Nurses Week, kudos to them.
Yeah.
And the final thing is, so I think everyone knows that there is a district court case for cruelty to animals as a result of 2 dogs that were taken into custody by the Marion PD, and the case was turned over to this district court. It was not run through municipal court, and the county attorney filed that case. It's just been, I dare say, a cluster since then. And we had a Zoom meeting with the county attorney, the county counselor, the county administrator, the city attorney, city administrator, and me last week. And those dogs are still in custody, so to speak, and still racking up bills. And dramatic steps are being taken as we speak to end that. So if you want to get out of the hole, the first thing you got to do is quit digging, and we quit digging. And we reached an agreement that the city will pay the cost of those dogs' care from the date that we took them to the vet to the date that the county attorney filed the criminal case in district court. And that the county will pay from there forward. You agree that's what we?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. That I think we come out of that with about 3 months worth of care.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
And the county's gonna come out with about 5.5 to 6 months. But it was an interesting conversation. I think Brian was hiding his eyes, he didn't like the way I was behaving.
Yeah, you were very real.
I was very right.
And Mr. Bina was also antsy in his chair as well with that conversation, but not because of what you were saying, just because we needed a real resolution.
I know that Mr. Bina agrees with my legal interpretation.
Yeah, you're the legal experts, so, yeah.
sad statement.
So we'll get that done. I'm gonna, we got a solution, and Mr. Venus said that was a good solution. The state statute allows veterinarians to have dogs abandoned or not picked up, to be able to send a certified letter to the owner. And if they don't respond within 10 days, then they're allowed to legally move the dog to a shelter or someplace to be able to get it rehomed. So that's the avenue we're taking. It's the best avenue, the fastest avenue. And so I sent that information on. They sent me a letter. I'm gonna go get it tomorrow. We're gonna get it in the mail and hopefully have it resolved quickly.
And
How much is 3 months worth of care?
you
Well,
don't
I mean,
wanna know.
well, I remember the whole thing was several $1,000s.
So we've already paid, what, 3,600 or something like that?
Yeah, it's more than that.
It's closer to 7.
Well, yeah,
I'm
okay,
6 to 7.
but we paid that second one, we paid it to not, so the vet wouldn't be left hanging. but
Right,
With the
yes.
intention that we're gonna get reimbursed from the county, and the
Yes.
county has agreed to do that.
Okay.
But I guess we paid one up front. I think the one we paid first was 3,600. Or, do you remember, Aaron, at all?
It was something like that.
Really? That
The
low?
first one, I think.
Okay.
But, so I got a quick question about that. So it took about 3 months before that case got given to district court, is that, so those are the months that were,
Yeah. Not when you gave, I assume your reports went to the county attorney much quicker than that.
yeah, the next day.
Yeah.
That's why I was a little confused.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if we're talking about a day, that's,
I checked with the clerk of the court as to the filing date of the case.
Well, we just got a bill last week for 37.56.96, but that was, they said we didn't need to pay that one.
Well, we just need to,
The
Brian.
county's gonna pay that one.
We're gonna do we're just gonna have to do the math on it. We're paying from this date to that, and they're paying for roughly twice as much time as we are.
So we should get some money back from that second check we wrote.
I
to
think
them.
so,
Mhm.
yeah,
I believe we will.
pretty sure we will, yeah.
so there's no more cities, city has to pay for that, right?
Shouldn't be, we should get a refund of some of that money. Well, that's how, the call shouldn't end until they specifically, I demanded that they say the words that there's gonna be a refund to the city. Am I wrong?
That's correct.
You guys record this? That'd have been interesting.
Yeah, I would like to listen.
I did not record that. It wasn't a Zoom meeting, it was a Teams or something. But I really, the Marion PD, by the way, in case anybody thinks, did absolutely nothing wrong in that. That was, there was just a lot of, it wasn't even miscommunication. It was just like the old men speak Martian and women speak Venus or whatever thing. But in any event, it's done. Do I have a motion to adjourn from
I'll
anybody?
make that motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, we're adjourned.